One of the really cool parts about making YouTube videos is that you have a shitty hair day. It's there forever. And welcome to this channel. My name is RedbeardFlynn. I am a variety streamer on Twitch, twitch.tv/RedbeardFlynn. You can catch me there playing games like New World, Thursdays 7 p.m. CST, and Sundays at 4:30 p.m. CST. Hope to see you there. In this video, I'll be covering my experiences in New World over a total of roughly 35-40 hours during the duration of the beta. While I do feel like out of the allotted time we had in beta, I put in a solid effort to gather information, there was still a ton of the game I didn't get to see, which is why this is more of a first thoughts video and not a review. This is coming from my viewpoints as a longtime MMO veteran who spent a scary amount of time in digital worlds ranging from Ultima Online, yes I'm old, to Black Desert Online. Did not like that game, just FYI. So we'll go ahead and get the rating out of the way now. For New World in its current state, I rated a 7.5 out of 10. It's a solid game with a ton of potential, and there are many little things in the game that give me hope that they're really looking at the details. I tried very hard to compare it in my mind to other MMOs at launch and not established MMOs now, which have years, decades even, and so many expansions to build on that foundation. So we're looking at New World as an MMO foundation. I'll be playing New World at launch. What remains to be seen is how long. How long can New World keep my attention? How long can the content they have provided feel exciting and engaging? How long before it just feels like a grind that has no real reward at the end? That is the key to MMOs in a lot of ways, is can it keep you? Okay, so let's start with performance and graphics, because in a lot of ways they go kind of hand in hand. Performance was a pleasant surprise. It's not just how generally smooth it feels, but how good the graphics come across at medium settings. In a lot of ways, this looks and feels like an MMO should look and feel in 2021. Is it Black Desert? No, not by a long shot, but it's also not WoW or even its most recently released competitor, Crowfall. There are moments where I stop just to appreciate the scenery. The world feels real, which is hard to manage sometimes. The foliage is particularly good along with the sky. There are things to notice that are small, like the particles in the tree when it crashes down. Lighting and sound design stand out as being top tier, at least to me. It's a full world that just feels there. I don't really know how else to explain it. It's just there. It feels like it exists. It runs the way a AAA game should. The player models are a little bit less impressive, I think. They're very bland in some ways, but they're there. I mean, you're not going to be upset. What I really appreciated on the models themselves is the gear diversity I found in just the first. They offer such a great diversity of equipment that is not tied to a store. It is not tied to a cosmetic store like Black Desert, where as you level, you see gear progression graphically. That's not to say it's perfect. I did run into some bugs, mostly with the UI and with a couple really unresponsive NPCs that would just sit there and let you kill them. This is probably to be expected. It is a new game. You still have bugs like this in current MMOs. So let's move on to combat, which to me may be one of the selling points and the push points for the game in a weird way. With combat, I think this might be one section that still needs a lot of refinement from Amazon Game Studios. It's perhaps I'm being overly harsh, because recent games I've been playing have not been MMOs. I have been playing games like Neo. The dodging and blocking mechanisms just feel kind of off. But perhaps even worse than that is attacks don't feel weighty. especially from the specials with like the two-handed axe. The NPC just kind of walks through it. There's no indication with animations or anything that they've been hit. They just walk through it. There's no interruptions, nothing. And I understand that that's difficult to do in an MMO. Combos and recoil are not super common, so I've seen them done well in ESO and Black Desert. Honestly, I think the combat may be the weakest part of the game for me so far, and that isn't good news, but it's still been plenty of fun. This might be improved by a controller, at least not the weightiness. The weightiness is just gonna be shit, I think, in general, until they make changes. But the dodging and blocking may improve with the controller, but I'm not certain if that would happen, and I don't know that there's any currently plans for controller support. The timing on blocks and dodges in concert with animations just doesn't feel as crisp as it should. Honestly, I mostly just ran headfirst into most combat because dodging and blocking didn't feel worth the somewhat janky effort. This could change as we get higher level and is probably essential in PvP, but that worries me more than excites me. I'll put combat like this. If this was a single player game, I may have quit. Now hold on, don't take that as a damning condemnation of New World. You're talking to someone who spent nearly half of their life immersed in a game released in 1999 called Everquest that has possibly some of the worst combat ever made. MMOs are different. Is combat important? Of course, but it's an ingredient in a stew. To me, the most important ingredient of any MMO is the community, because that is what sets the game apart from an RPG or an action adventure or any other game. I can give the combat a break if the other parts of the game make up for it. Harvesting and crafting. Harvesting is fun, in my opinion. It's plentiful, it's satisfying. The sound design made me pause multiple times just to appreciate it, and it felt like I was gathering with purpose, the purpose being crafting. Attaching skills to both harvesting and crafting also made you want to grind to get high enough to be able to do more. Beyond that, harvesting feels like it's part of the world. It's all over the place and it doesn't feel out of place. Even at the higher level crazy fire flowers and spark flowers, they still look kind of natural in the world. It just fits. The way that they have used the harvesting as part of the environment, and you destruct that environment when doing it. It makes it, I compared it more to Valheim than any other MMOs I've played in. It felt there, and you felt like anything you walked up to could potentially be harvesting, with the exception of a bunch of mountains. But hey, you know, the trees. Crafting itself is dull. You click a button and boom, it crafts. That's not shocking. That's what most MMOs do. Hell, that's what most games in general do. This is not Everquest 2's crafting system. However, I think that's fine. I was both overwhelmed and excited by the sheer number of recipes and the steps involved in crafting that I saw. I won't speak too much on this part because crafting has never been my primary goal, but as a casual crafter, I was excited. When I made my first green item, I was giddy. Almost as giddy as when I got my first high quality item as a random drop from an NPC. Crafting and harvesting look like they will be integral to the game, and in my opinion, that's a good thing. For part of an MMO that often gets the short end of the stick, it's good to see that they have focused on that for people that really enjoy that part of gaming. Difficulty, I think needs some tuning. I would say that where MMOs stand, this has felt very casual. Even level creatures are not a challenge. And I'm not saying that as like you know, someone who's played a lot of games or anything, they're just not a challenge. You can just run up and hack and slash them and you'll be fine. Just eat a couple rations every now and then, no problem whatsoever. And there's not really that much of a death penalty issue, so you didn't feel very scared often. In fact, in order to get a challenge, I found myself pulling multiple mobs, not just multiple mobs, but mobs that were 8 levels above me. 2 of them, maybe 3. At one point I fought 3 and I was running around and trying to get away. The difficulty level leaves something to be desired because it feels too easy to progress. It feels more grindy than anything. It feels, in that way, it reminded me of Black Desert, because Black Desert, you just go take on a huge horde of whatever creatures and you just beat them up. Black Desert's difficulty and New World felt similar in that way. I believe this is also kind of translated from WoW, which used to have difficult one-on-one confrontations, but then they moved more towards like destroying big groups of NPCs all at once. I don't know that that's the best way to go about it with an MMO. I personally come from an older school version of MMOs where, you know, one encounter can wreck your face. I'm speaking specifically of Ultima Online and Everquest. As an MMO player who straddles the line between solo and group play, I wish I'd seen more necessary grouping this far into the game. But I also have to say that I have not experienced its full breadth. I know there are dungeons of a type in the game, and I was not able to experience those yet. And I'm quite certain that with PvP, as with most PvP games, you're gonna do better in a group than solo. One other note about difficulty, spawn rate is weird in some places, but I wonder if it's partially due to testing. Some things seems to spawn ridiculously fast, like one of the named ghosts I ran into. Other spawns seem much slower and rare, like sheep in certain areas, or turkeys. Questing and gear. Quests are fine. I have no problem with them. I wouldn't call them innovative, but I wouldn't say they're bad either. It's much the same fare you find all over the MMO space. They have the same bonuses and frustrations as others. The quests can feel grindy. They have the fetch quests, hunt quests, etc., etc. They add in some PvP quests, which spice it up a bit, but again, nothing special or unique to New World. If you enjoy questing in most MMOs, you'll enjoy it here in New World. Gear progression is obvious, both with its impact and visually, which is great to see. Especially the latter, which was a major gripe of mine in Black Desert, which was a gorgeous game, but hid so much of the visual upgrades behind their cash shop. I'm hopeful New World continues to add plenty of in-game variety to its gear and doesn't fall into the cosmetic store monopoly trap. Things I wish that were in this game. Oh man, I wish I had a horse, of course. You're always running, but I feel like I want to sprint. Perhaps it's a holdover from games like ESO and Final Fantasy 14. Still, you know, this is becoming a meme on this channel that I don't math. I don't even count. And this is perhaps personal preference, so it's not something the game needs, but I would have loved to see more fantasy-inspired playable races. Lizard folk, Naga, what have you. Get wild with it. One of the biggest moments for me in my MMO journey was moving from humans-only game Ultima Online to Everquest, which offered multiple races and different armor looks for each race. It's something I would have loved in this game, but again, it's not needed. That said, future expansion with undead playable race, please. More mob types is the next thing that I would have liked to see. You can tell the limitations early on. I think I saw the same 2 zombies over and over, the same boar, the same skeletons, the same wolf, the same turkey, maybe some slight variations. One zombie's missing an arm, the other one's not. Yay. I'd love to see more, but I have to give credit where credit is due because it definitely feels like quality over quantity with some of the models. Whoever does the art and animations for New World did a great job. The zombie that throws up on you, holy crap, the animation is visceral. It grossed me out. Well done. And in conclusion, my final first thoughts on this game. As with any game, this cannot be all-encompassing, and it's always subject to change. In its current state, though, I would recommend New World at its $40 price tag to anyone who enjoys current MMOs. There's no subscription fee currently, and there's no cash shop. If those things change, or if the price tag change, my recommendation would also change. I feel like it's priced right for what you are getting. It's a cut above some of the recent games that have released MMO wise, but I would caution though about expectations. With MMOs, I think we as fans have a tendency to judge based on what we've been playing for years. Would it be fair to compare New World to Everquest? No. Everquest has been out for 22 years. The same goes for ESO and Final Fantasy XIV. The main thing to avoid in judging is content and refinement. If the game has a good backbone, which so far I feel New World does, it can be built upon. No one knows what will happen with New World, but I'm cautiously optimistic it will be an entertaining MMO title. We'll see if the cash shop remains free of pay to win, but for now, it feels nice and tame. At times, I felt like I was playing Valheim. At other times, I felt like I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, and to me, that was a great thing. The most exciting part of this game and its future prospect is the ability, though, to play with others. Essentially, this game is a cut above what I expected, and I had decent but not high expectations. I believe as the first proper entry into the gaming space by Amazon Gaming Studios, they've done a good job. I'm excited for the game's potential. I'll end with my top areas of concern going forward: content, lack of mounts, and inventory management. The last two are the most concerning to me because without a sub, I could see Amazon monetizing those similarly to how ESO has, at least with inventory. Let's all hope that doesn't happen and we remain free from pay to win in this game. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. Your time is valuable and I'm honored you'd share a little bit of it with me. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button down below. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Have a wonderful day. There's no swimming. You do this instead. You just do this. You just do this. You just walk underwater. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. Oh shit, no. Go back, go back, go back. Don't die. Don't fucking die. Oh my god. Don't die. If I die, fuck off.
What a noob uninstall.